Hello, my dear friend. Hope you are doing great today. We will continue our journey with The Leader Who Had No Title book. In the previous video, we talked about the first teacher, Anna, who taught us about the 5 rules of the word image. If you haven't heard that clip, I advise you to go and listen to it. And now grab your coffee and let's dive in. Today, we will start with the second teacher. Tom took Blake to an area called Tribeca, where they would meet with the second teacher. As they were walking, Tom said to Blake, "Business and life itself can become unpredictable, especially in these volatile economic times. Just when you feel confident about what the future looks like, a competitor or a new technology model instantly transforms the industry. When things seem to be returning to normal, a merger happens, and the organization is no longer the same. When you think you understand everything, a mountain of change comes to hit you and knock you down." Now with the second teacher, you will understand the sentence below. Tom and Blake entered a store selling ski equipment and sportswear. The place was strikingly bright, everything organized and tidy, with large posters on the wall bearing slogans like "Embrace Fear," "Tough Races Make Better Skiers," and "Conquer the Everest Within You." Behind the sales counter was a tall man with an athletic appearance, seemingly in his 50s. When he saw Tom and Blake, he rushed to greet them, smiled enthusiastically, and hugged Tom. The second teacher, whose name was T.Y., and Tom exchanged news. Then T.Y. pointed to Blake and asked Tom, "Is this the young man you told me about?" And Tom said yes. Before continuing with the lessons, Tom introduced T.Y., who had been a 5-time world champion in slalom skiing. He had competed all around the world, and in his early 30s, he broke his knee in an event which forced him to leave skiing. He then worked as a ski instructor and later opened this store to sell ski equipment. T.Y. said to Blake, "I may not be rich from selling ski equipment, but I wake up every morning to work on something I truly love doing." He then said his usual phrase, "I may not be wealthy, but I have a rich life." Now we begin with the lessons of our second teacher. T.Y. started by saying, "Leadership is available to everyone alive today, not just for CEOs, army generals, and heads of state. Your life will change if you allow it to emerge." T.Y. said passionately, "All you need is one idea that has the power to break all the barriers in front of you. One smart vision can inspire you to make a decision that moves you to a new revolutionary way of performance." Oliver Wendell Holmes said it well, "A mind that is stretched by a new idea never returns to its original dimensions." T.Y. continued, "You must find ways to have a good time in everything you do seriously. No matter what we do at work, we all need to be entertaining and inspire our customers to love dealing with us. Anyone in business is also in show business, as we believe. When we go to work, we are on stage. We need to perform and impress the audience. No one cares if you're having a bad day. They just want to see the show they paid to watch. Keep in mind that turbulent times build great leaders," he added. "It's like the saying, the more complicated things get, the less the complications matter. And skiing is the best analogy for this quote, which is why Blake is with T.Y. T.Y. continued, "The pace of profound change in business happening across multiple industries never slows down. On the contrary, it only accelerates. If you put your head under the desk hoping the wave of change will go away, you'll end up suffocating, like the poor person who falls unprepared under a huge mass of mountain ice. There's no real hope of survival. If you fight all this, you'll get into trouble. It would be like resisting the slope gradient in a ski race, which makes your heart rise to your throat when you catch a glimpse of the edge from the top. The only way to get to the bottom in one go is to commit to the descent line and embrace it instead of resisting it. The only way to reach safety is to lean into the mountain. This means you have to do the things you feel you should avoid. It means you have to lean into the steep slope in front of you instead of trying to lean closer to the mountain to prevent falling. It means you need to get closer to the things you fear instead of withdrawing from them." Yes, it's completely counterintuitive, but if you don't follow this approach, you'll face problems. For example, if you don't ski and just stand looking at the slope from the top of the mountain, you'll end up frozen, my dear friend. So, my friend, if you don't dare to face what you fear, you'll remain in place. On the other hand, if you don't experience it and see, you'll end up wondering what's behind this thing you feared. Or as years pass, you might regret and say, "I wish I had really done that thing and not let fear overcome me." If I'm not mistaken, there are surely people now with this feeling of regret. but I'd like to tell you to let the past go and face your future fears. Blake spoke and said, "This means, TY, that if I don't lean into the change coming towards me in my work, and instead protect myself by withdrawing to my old way of working, I'll end up frozen on the mountain." TI replied, "Exactly right. That's how you need to embrace all the fear that comes when you don't know all the answers and where you're going exactly." TY spoke about himself and said, "In the same way I skied some of the most difficult slopes in the world, extraordinary things start to happen. You feel extremely uncomfortable, and all your limiting beliefs start screaming in your mind, and you feel it's impossible to reach the bottom. This is when you're most alive and your growth is greatest. The fear you experience when you go to the edge of your limits makes your limits expand, and this expansion translates into much more awesome performance in every other area of your life. When you consistently approach what you resist instead of pushing it away, you won't just be more confident, you'll be stronger in the way you live your life, and you'll see the extent of your true strength. When you embrace what scares you, it actually turns into power and introduces you to your strengths. As Nietzsche said, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." He said, "The thing you resist will persist, but when you embrace it, you'll start to overcome it." He said, "Look, like skiing, when the terrain changes on a ski slope, you need to change your approach and adapt. Otherwise, you'll fall and get hurt. The way you ski on a well-prepared slope is different from how you ski on a deep slope. The same applies to how we work currently. New circumstances call for different methods. You need to adapt. Be brave. Seriously embrace chaos. Welcome danger. Take smart risks and have the courage to focus your greatest abilities, even if the idea scares you. The more you lean into your fears and move towards your challenges, the more amazing the rewards that come your way become. The more you do things you're afraid of doing, the more real leadership you demonstrate. The more you give to your work and to life itself amid profound change, the more you receive. What you take is directly proportional to what you give, and all the confusion in the work field will take you to beautiful places. Be brave and overcome your fears before your fears overcome you. We all have Everest peaks deep within our hearts, so you need to dedicate yourself to climb them every day. Remember, you don't know how far you can climb if you don't try, and you're not truly living if you don't push the limits and overcome your fears. This is how leaders without titles deeply understand that difficult circumstances reveal the person. Although difficult circumstances are scary, they are also invigorating. And basically, over time, you'll see that what you fear is very normal. Also, difficult circumstances reveal your flaws in one way or another. Believe me, there will be no growth or progress without feeling tension in the pit of your stomach and discomfort in your body. Surely you've experienced this feeling before. But have you ever experienced this stomach pain for something worthwhile? For myself, I remember this feeling during exam days when I was young in high school. I used to feel pain in my stomach and feel like my heart had dropped into my belly. But when I remember those days now, I honestly say it wasn't worth it. I was afraid or exaggerated fear over something almost trivial. And anyone in high school listening to me now, do you feel the pain, or don't you care much? If you're the type who feels like me, I want to tell you to stay calm. In the end, believe me, when you grow up and look back, you'll see that you were afraid of something that wasn't worth it. I know it's not in your control, but try to calm down. That's all I ask of you. TY continued, "Great leaders have a deep understanding that anything that helps you expand and grow as a person is actually good. In these volatile times, developing yourself and the best of your leadership is the best method for survival. Sometimes things need to fall apart before they can be rebuilt in a better way. You can't progress in your life or even change for the better without going through a phase of breakdown. The fear of changing from who you were to who you will become is a very natural part of the growth stage. This fear is because you will change your lifestyle to a completely new lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with it, and this fear and feeling of discomfort will disappear. It won't stay with you until the end. Do you get me? If you experience this fear, don't expect it to stay with you forever. Don't run away from it, and you'll see very great results. But don't give up. Keep moving towards what bothers you and take smarter risks. All your fears will start to disappear regularly. You'll see that your fears turn into strength. This is how you build self-confidence too, and become invincible. Every time you embrace fear, your inner leader will be fueled with more energy. This way, you'll reach your goal faster than you expect. And remember, lucky people don't just get lucky. Lucky people create luck. They do this by taking bold risks and seizing distinctive opportunities. Now, you've seen the 5 rules that our friend Anna gave to our friend Blake from the word image, and we all benefited, including Blake. So now our friend TY will give Blake these same rules with the letters SPARK. Now let's start with the first letter S, which means speak with candor. Leadership without a position is very much about being an authentic, honest, and inspiring communicator. In highly volatile times, there's an innate tendency to avoid frankness, speak in vague generalities that mean nothing except maintaining the status quo, and essentially speak in a way designed to protect your position. But the problem with this type of communication is that it will cause distrust. The people around you will prefer to hear the truth, rather than raising some artificial slogans to avoid facing reality. People in business want to surround themselves with people who deliver the news as it is. Frank people, direct people, amazingly honest people. Telling the bare truth and nothing but the bare truth brings you respect and trust. They'll know you're telling the truth, that you're not playing games, and that you know how to act with integrity and courage. This type of bold communication is rare these days, so you must lean towards difficult and bold circumstances. Keep in mind that if the person in front of you doesn't like what you're going to tell them, it's not an excuse for not expressing your opinion honestly. It's not your job to worry about how the person feels. The important thing is that you convey the whole truth regardless of their feelings. Strive to be committed to speaking honestly, rather than seeking the approval of others. Communicate intensively with your colleagues. Communicate intensively with your financiers. Communicate intensively with your clients, and listen to what all these groups feel. This will prevent gossip about you from spreading and keep your relationships intact. There will be no problems, no misunderstandings will occur, and people will feel that you care about them and what concerns them. Remember, there's a difference between being frank and being rude. Use good judgment, and you can simply say everything you want to say as long as you say it respectfully. This way, you allow the listener to maintain their self-worth, which is extremely important, my dear friend. Words can sting. People will remember hurtful words said to them even 20 years after the event. So be careful, my dear friend. I don't expect that you would allow yourself to hurt someone. Imagine if you hurt someone. You'll go on with your life. Years will pass, and you'll forget what you said. But imagine that the person who heard the hurtful word from you didn't move on with his life, all because of you. Some people fall into depression, some get sick, and some even commit suicide. So imagine that one word from you could end someone's life. That's why always be careful with every letter that comes out of your mouth. Also, most hurtful words come out in times of anger. So try to leave the place and go out instead of throwing a word that hurts. Believe me, it's only hours or minutes until you calm down, and you'll thank God a million times that you didn't speak. Now, let's get back to our topic. TY said that outstanding leaders use encouraging and motivating words. Look at what leaders like Gandhi, Mandela, Martin Luther King, John Kennedy do through the sheer power of their words. Keep in mind that words have more power than you think. Your words can make people feel more satisfied with themselves. Your words can also activate people to free themselves from their restrictive behaviors. People can do many things and even succeed in their lives just because of your words. So always train yourself to be kind and positive in your speech, and be careful with every letter that comes out of your mouth. Also, be careful of the words you use with yourself. There's a saying that goes, your destination is taken from your mouths, so be careful with yourself too. Now we move to the second letter of SPARK, which is P, and it means prioritize. With all the existing disturbances, it's easy to forget yourself, your goal, your value, and your vision. When things seem to be falling apart, there's a strong tendency to stay in place by being tempted to get distracted. You must have discipline and prioritize from important to most important. Leaders live by a simple idea, which is focus on the best and ignore the rest. This is one of their secrets for their amazing results. Focus, focus, focus to the point of obsession. Now you'll tell me, but obsession is harmful. Believe me, obsession is not harmful if it's healthy because it serves to show your best in an amazing way. And it's the way you win in this world full of multiple choices and lots of information. Get a paper and pen, prioritize from most important to important, And there's a difference between the work you need to accomplish and doing great work. So focus on the great things because they are what will change your life. And of course, then accomplish the important things. Be careful not to climb the wrong mountains and waste your time, talent, and most importantly, your energy. You need to know your priorities well, then have self-awareness and executive intelligence to push away anything else. You need to move from complexity to simplicity by eliminating all low-impact activities of workdays to make room for obsessive focus on your high-impact activities. Then TY told Blake to remember the 20/80th rule, meaning 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. Excel intensely in your few valuable performances, be exceptionally economical in your actions, and you will witness exceptionally excellent results. TY gave Blake advice. Of course, this advice is for me and you, too, my friend. He said every morning before you go out into the world, take some quiet time for yourself. During that period, allocate time to think. Sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. Thinking silently while the world is asleep is excellent training for exceptional performance. And don't forget to take notes right on paper as we agreed. Now we come to the third letter A, which means adversity breeds opportunity. TY said, every setback carries with it a great opportunity. Every curse carries a blessing. Every failure brings with it a gift, an entrance. If you have the insight to see it, to pass through it, it will make you much more successful than you were before the crisis. As they used to say in the old days, when darkness intensifies, you can see the stars. And with every dream that dies, a better dream comes to life. The problem, in reality, is nothing but a platform for brighter possibilities. In fact, there are no good or bad circumstances. It just happens. And the way we understand it is what makes it good or bad. The good news is that perception is under our control. Remember that if a new door opens, this is a new opportunity to take you to a more wonderful place than where you were before you faced a crisis. Crises contain exceptional opportunities. Remember that the strongest and most influential leaders were built through struggle and failures. Exposure to suffering, discouragement, and defeat is part of the process of accomplishing work during these times of great change. The key doesn't lie in whether you will face the challenge or not. You will inevitably face it. The real key is what you will do with the difficulties and how quickly you will rise again. Helen Keller wrote, "We could never learn to be brave and patient if there were only joy in the world." Leadership is about exploiting difficult times and using them to your advantage. You must see obstacles as blessings in disguise. True, it requires training to think this way, but in the end, you can do it. Just practice, my dear friend, and keep in mind the letters KMF. Keep moving forward no matter what difficulties you experience. Be patient and persevering, and as Winston Churchill said, never give up. Never, 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 in anything great or small, large or petty. Never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Now we enter the fourth letter R, which means respond versus react when turbulent times strike. Don't acquire the habit of reacting to challenges at work, my friend. Be professional in responding to them. Be tactful when under pressure. Stop worrying about all the things you can't control and dedicate yourself to improving the areas you can control. Take initiative. Showing initiative means you're the person on your team who starts things. Be a person of action. Make results happen while others wait to be led. Remember that the finest hour of every great leader occurred when everything started falling apart. Instead of standing there paralyzed by fear, they remained calm, showed discernment, and turned everything around completely. You must possess pure motivation and the exceptional ability to block out the noise in this age, characterized by overwhelming distraction. Finally, but not least, we enter the last letter of today's lesson, K, which means kudos. Being a leader without a title involves being inspiring and motivating in a world that often celebrates the worst things. It will remind you to spotlight people. It will help you remember that people need to be appreciated, even for the smallest things they do in the face of adversity and stressful times. Spend every day of your life as one of those rare individuals who encourage others' efforts. Most people think leadership is about correcting and criticizing others when they do something wrong. But this isn't right. True leadership is largely about praising others when they do things correctly. Remember that your praise may not be fully received. This doesn't mean you shouldn't offer your praise well. Finally, commit to becoming a passionate celebrator of the great work people around you do. Recognize excellence, praise good work, respect mastery, You do everything and don't expect anything from anyone. Speak frankly. Prioritize adversity breeds opportunity. Respond versus react, appreciate everyone. And remember, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. And so we have reached the end of our lessons with the second teacher. I hope you've benefited. Share this video with everyone. And have a great day.